What is up, my kings and queens and all in between? Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Artist Podcast. It's myself, Andrew Velasquez, and that song you just heard is Mi Corazon. You can download Mi Corazon wherever you stream your favorite music, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify. Just search for Mi Corazon by Andrew Velasquez, produced by Aaron McLendon. And for today, your one-stop shop for all things balancing creativity, spirituality, while being an entrepreneur. I have another amazing guest, and if you're watching this, you can see that handsome face over there. And I'm so excited to introduce him to you guys. I've known him for such a long time, but before I let him speak, let me talk about who our guest is. You guys, welcome Joe Hernandez. Joe Hernandez is a Southern California native, earning his Bachelors of Theater Arts from California State University, Fullerton. Since 2015, Joe has been a freelance voice actor with credits in video games such as The Legend of Zelda, Breath of Wild, Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, Kingdom Hearts 3, The Last of Us Part 2. Joe can be heard and most recently as Boucheron in Fire Emblem, Engage, and has also reprised his role as Yunobo in The Legend of Zelda, Tears of Kingdom. Anime credits include JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Golden Wind, Pesci, Kengan Ashura, Ryo Mizakzuchi. I'm going to butcher all these names, you guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And Vineland Saga. In addition to his work as a voice actor, Joe is a digital puppeteer at the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California, in such interactive shows as Turtle Talk with Crush and Stitch's Picture Phone. And Joe is one of my friends and clients, and I love this guy and his whole family. They're just like one of my faves, you know? Thank you so much for being here, Joe. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. We were talking just a second earlier. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
that
it
season right
was
now.
it's going around so bad. And
Hmm.
again, like you go through different phases when, whenever you catch a cold as a voice actor where it's like, oh gosh, like I hope it doesn't hit me that hard. I hope I'll be able to, just like
Hmm.
please, 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 like don't let this disrupt my ability to work and
It's
all that
literally your
stuff.
moneymaker. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so difficult when so much of your livelihood is tied to your voice. Like think about it.
Yeah.
If you're digging ditches, if you're like, a janitor, a police officer, if you're like pretty much any other profession,
Hmm.
if you lose your voice or if like have some gravel or some texture, some smokiness or whatever, like you could still go about your life and your business
For
and like
sure.
it's fine. As a voice actor, like everything comes to a screeching halt. And
That's your instrument.
so yes, and so like there are some little tricks of the trade that like amongst us in the voiceover community that we do to try to, it's like, okay, what can we do to get better? What can we do to like, help out the voice and the vocal
Hmm.
cords and all that? And so
Hmm.
like you're pulling out every like sort of odd end, old wives tale,
Medicine
like
ball at
what
Starbucks.
all everything. And
I love
it's
it.
just you're just like it's a little bit of an identity crisis too, because it's like, oh my God,
Mm.
like I can't work. Like I just
Yeah.
everything comes to a screeching halt. And so there's that like that part of you that's like, oh my gosh, like I need to get back to work. Like this is how I pay my bills, this is how I support my family. And also, it's like physically I'm fine, I'm good. It's not like I'm bedridden or anything like that. It's just I
Right,
can't
right.
use my instrument. And so it's very difficult. It's like, oh gosh, am I going to be better tomorrow? Hopefully I'll be better by, by Monday. By then, it's like, and so all these like thoughts and things start racing through your head, and it's like
Yeah.
it's out of our control,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's so frustrating.
How long
um
were you sick?
I started to lose my voice, I want to say last Wednesday.
Okay.
And like that's where like it really started to kind of like start creeping in, probably about like Thursday or so.
So it's been
And
over a
so
week.
yeah, and so I
I think
had
you
to go.
sound fine.
I could hear it. I
Yeah.
absolutely can hear it.
You're a
Like
perfectionist. Yeah.
and believe me, like if you had heard me a couple of days ago, yes, it was definitely prevalent. But like when it's all said and
Sometimes it's a
done,
little
about a
sexy,
week.
but I imagine if it's not the requirement for the role, then it's problematic.
So what's funny is like I had gotten some auditions and like some of them were for video games where like they wanted the
Mm,
character to sound like gruff and tough and like very
hmm.
masculine and like, sounds like he smokes 12 Marlboros a day. So it's like, okay, those ones I auditioned for.
Yeah,
But
there
there
you
were
go.
other ones that were like Disney cartoons where it's like
Hmm.
this would not work. And so I have to pass on that. And it's just like,
Yeah,
like I and there's just there's a part of you that just feels so frustrated because you're trapped in your body
yeah,
and you want to be able to have that outlet and you can't do it, and
yeah.
it's super super frustrating when something like that happens.
Yeah, I can understand that, and I definitely can relate even more so because of the last time you were out here visiting for your convention, which was
You were
really
sick.
cool. I was getting over it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to ask you because I'm using my voice so much now. I mean, I used
Yeah.
it to an extent with like webinars and teaching classes and with clients, etc. But now even more so to the next level where you're really aware of all the sounds of it and like you said, the
Yeah.
textures and so yeah, I thank you for your advice on like the medicine ball at Starbucks, some ginger tea, some calming, soothing. I think even you said some of the numbing cough drops that were really helpful
Yeah.
too. Yeah. So what other advice do you have for
I mean,
people's voice
look
protection?
at humidifiers. Humidifiers will be your best
Mm,
friend. This is going to sound really gross. It's something called a neti pot, and so some people know about it, some
I
people
hate
don't.
those so much. They're so
It
invasive
it's
and
a
it's
necessary evil, and it's gross, and it's
I
disgusting.
feel like I'm being
Um,
attacked. Like it's not
yeah,
okay.
it's you're like you're waterboarding
Like
yourself,
my
but
nose is being raped.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But I mean, but that's the means to an end. Like those are the things that you do to try to like just help your
Yeah,
body
you're
heal.
right. You're right. It's
Um,
clearing the pipes. You're right.
One of the other things that someone introduced to me, and I thought it was absolutely crazy, but it's apple cider vinegar. And I was doing
Yeah.
a singing
Yeah.
session a couple of months back ago, and there was an actual singer, because
Yeah.
I'm not by no means am I an a singer or anything like
I'm
that.
sure you can keep a tune.
But he's like, hey, take some apple cider vinegar. Let's do a shot. And like, I was like, really? How does that help? He's like, it
Hmm.
clears out all the gunk
Makes
that gets
sense.
in your throat. And I thought it was so crazy.
It's an
And
anti-inflammatory.
yeah, and it's just like,
Mm.
oh my god, like it's
Hmm.
disgusting. I like believe me, it is absolutely
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah.
But it works, and so you can't
Yeah.
argue with results when it comes to like your vocal health and stuff like that.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
appreciate that feedback for sure. So let's kind of rewind a little bit.
sure.
Let's talk about the origins of little baby Joe Hernandez. When did you realize this is my path? This is what I want to do? Like I know you went to a performance art school, but prior to that, did you look at anime? Were you a fan of video games? Like,
I started off as a theater person. I loved acting. I loved
ah,
performing. I
okay.
loved, like I would watch, TV shows and I wanted to be in them. That was just who I was. And so when I got to high school, there was a girl that I had a just insane crush on. And she just so happened to be in the theater program. And I was like, that's it. I'm doing it. I'm auditioning for the next
Always
play.
a girl.
It was the girl that got me into theater, and so I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's just rip this band-aid off and go for it. And I knew I was gonna like it. I didn't know if I was gonna love it as much as I did, and thank God I did. It was a great outlet for me. And sometimes it's important as I become a father, where you look at those things where it's like,
Yeah,
okay, it's not just doing the classwork, it's not just doing, your classwork. It's look at the extracurricular activities. Those are the things that are going to like fuel that passion, that creativity, those things that are going to last you for the rest of your life. And fortunately for me, that was something that just fed into it. And so through high school, I did so much theater, all the plays, everything, any chance I could.
yeah. What was your
Absolutely.
favorite one?
Um, I did The Odd Couple, which was a
Ah,
lot of fun. And I was so brand spanking new, and it was so much fun to work on. And
Yeah,
that's where you really like hone in, like especially if you're working on anything that's done by Neil Simon. His dialogue is very back and forth, very like quick banter, and so you really learn the importance of comedic timing at that point in
sure.
time. Again, like it's comedy is an art,
Yeah.
just as much as drama, as any, like that goes into
There's a
that.
cadence
Like
to it. Yeah.
comedy, you have to have the delivery, you have to have the timing, and also you have to make sure that what you're speaking is well written too. So I mean, again, there's
Absolutely.
a lot that goes into it to be able to make someone laugh. And so you learn those chops. And so when I
I was
graduated,
Romeo for Romeo and Juliet in junior high.
yeah,
Yeah.
really, what was that
I
like?
I remember I wore like that, it looked like
Oh,
a giant t-shirt with a belt like around my empire
yes.
waist. And then when I died, my skirt went up and my underwear exposed to everybody, the whole audience.
Oh no.
That's the last I remember, yeah. But yeah, that was like junior high. I mean, now it's called middle school, but it
Yeah.
was, yeah, that was my drama experience. A
Oh my God. Well, I'm
little
glad it didn't
traumatic.
scare you off too much.
But
But
okay, so then the arts experience, the performance, the girl, and then so fast forward into adulthood, like how did it turn into this freelance career in the
what it was college. College was that
yeah,
transitional. And so I went to a school, a high school that didn't have a terribly good theater program. And so I went to Cal State Fullerton, which had one of the better, theater programs in the country.
yeah, yeah,
And so for me, that I learned so much. It was an eye-opening experience, and also pretty humbling too, because you go from being that big fish in a very small pond to now everybody is at different experience levels. Even just in that freshman college year, it's like, whoa, like
yeah,
I'm kind of in the big leagues a little bit.
yeah,
And so that was a little intimidating. And you learn how to be professional. I mean, like
yeah.
there's no other way about it. Like, and I saw so much from my freshman year to my sophomore year to my junior year. Like people
Every
just
level.
people just started to drop off because
Yeah.
they couldn't deal with the discipline, or
Mm,
like I said, the professionalism, or just making it to class on time.
yeah.
Again, it's just like just those little things. Like, and I'm not even talking about talent. We're not even
Yeah.
talking about talent. I'm
Right.
talking about like, can you make it to a class at 8:30 in the morning? Can you stay up late rehearsing scenes? Can you push yourself to a limit the likes of which you never knew? How quickly can you memorize and
Yeah.
block a scene and push yourself? And so, it was really a gut check time when I was in, my college theater program, and it pushed me. It made me better. And
Yeah.
believe me, it wasn't always sunshine and roses. There were some heartbreaking moments there as well, because again, very, very cutthroat.
Hmm.
But like I said, I learned how to be a professional, and I learned how to conduct myself in a manner that if I were to go out into the real world, I can hang. I can do that.
It's awesome.
And so while I was there in school, I saw an audition that went out at Disneyland. And I auditioned for character voices in the park, and they had these two
Nice.
shows, Stitch's Picture Phone and
Yeah.
Turtle Talk with Crush. And
Yeah.
I had seen the movies, but it wasn't anything that I was like terribly attached to. But I just
Hmm.
figured, hey, my other friends are going out for it. Let me give it a shot. Let me see what's up. And I went and I got them, and I got both jobs, and I was over the
Wow.
freaking moon. And these were brand new shows that like we didn't know what they were.
Right.
So you're feeling it out, you're getting a feel for it. Nothing's been established. And so it was a great opportunity to take everything that I was learning in my college level classes and
Yeah.
immediately apply it to a professional setting, which
Wow.
again, that doesn't always happen. For some
Yeah.
people, it's like, okay, you graduate, and finally after your senior year, maybe you do an internship, and maybe you get a little experience after that, but who knows?
Right.
But
Yeah, you lucked out. You
I
had some
believe me,
guardians with you.
stupid lucky.
Hmm.
Stupid lucky. And there's something to be said for being so young and so dumb to not even know when the odds are stacked against you, to not even know
Right.
when, like, oh gosh, should I be worried, should I be afraid? Like, there's just something to be said for just like being young and kind of fearless.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you took that risk. I wanted to ask, as a fellow Latino, because we both share that background, and I know how sometimes our old school generation parents can be a little more
Yeah.
conservative or traditional. How do they understand it? Like, how was their take on it, and did they support it? And where?
Yes and no. Yes and
Yeah.
no. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you know, Andrew, because my parents, they would have much rather I been a police officer, a
A
lawyer,
mechanic.
a mechanic, just
Look,
something
as I got my
that's
mechanic
stable.
jacket on right
Yeah,
now.
but something that's like
Yeah.
stable, something that's
Totally.
consistent. Right?
Yeah.
And like it's not as if there's another actor in the family. Because we don't have that. We don't that's not that's not in our family tree.
Right.
We
Right.
don't
Yeah.
have that. So that kind of came out from left field with my parents. It's like, what does he want? Why does he want to do this? Like
¿Cómo?
what?
¿Qué
Yeah,
hijo? ¿Qué vas a hacer?
that's not the family
Estás
business, you know?
loco.
Yeah. But
Where exactly is mom and dad from? Where are they from?
my parents are born here in California. My
That's right. Yeah.
grandparents are from Mexico.
Okay, cool.
And so my parents, my father, worked for a computer company for, 25, almost 30 years,
Yeah,
but I mean, again, that it was technically a white collar job, but he had a very blue collar approach to how my father works, his work ethic.
sure.
You go in and you stay loyal to a company and, you show up every day, day in, day out. And, the company is supposed to take care of you. And that's
Yeah,
how it was. So the idea of me working a career path that didn't have a safety net,
right.
that
Freelance
doesn't,
nonetheless,
that,
too.
yeah, that doesn't really have like a, a plan B, shall I say.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Where are
one
we
of
at
the
with them now? Sorry if I'm
they always,
interrupting.
they always check in on me, as again, they're always worried, like, hey, how's money, how's, are you okay? Meanwhile, I'm married, I
Yeah.
got a house, I got kids,
Love
I'm able to
Tiffany.
support them, we're not out on
Yes.
the streets, we're not
No.
living paycheck to paycheck, like, we're okay. And I'll say this because I'm still working at Disney,
Yeah.
and so I'm still doing that creative job that, like, still
Hmm.
kind of fulfills me artistically and
So cool.
my passion. uh but it's also sort of like that steady job too,
Yeah.
because you need to have a survival job, you need to
Yeah.
have that steady paycheck. And
Hmm.
I've often said, do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. And so, again,
I
with
like
some of
that.
the uncertainties and some of the roller coaster trajectory that the freelance life can lead,
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
always nice to have sort of like a stable 9 to 5 in your
Absolutely.
back pocket that will allow you to pursue what you want to do.
Sure.
Because believe me, and sometimes those things don't always go hand in hand.
Right.
Sometimes those things directly conflict with one another. And so, Andrew, you know this better than anybody else, but there are times where I've told you I feel like I'm threading the needle with
Right.
my life, with my schedule,
Yeah.
because of how tight everything is.
Yep.
Between working a full-time job and then being a parent and then also having my freelance job. And as a freelancer, you're sort of expected to be open 24 hours.
A little bit you are. Yeah. And
Even though you're not actually like working 24 hours, but
right.
between emails, invoices, paperwork,
Yeah.
maybe doing some promotion
It's
online,
a lot.
there's
Hmm.
so much stuff that goes into sort of the business end of everything. And I'm not even talking about the artistic side, I'm talking about
Right.
just
The
that
operations.
infrastructure to kind of keep it
Hmm.
going.
Yeah.
you know that there's so much work that people don't see, that goes on behind the scenes,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to keep it
I
going.
relate 100%. I manage like three calendars, sometimes four. It depends on, what week it is. So,
Yeah,
but, I mean, like you said, you have to do what needs to be done in order to do what you want to do.
yeah,
And I love that. I think that's beautiful. And through that journey, you met your wife, who we love, Tiffany, who also works at Disney at the parks. And she was
yes,
in performance art as well.
yes. My wife was she's much more talented than I am, I think. You know, she was a singer, dancer,
And beautiful.
beautiful, tall, buxom redhead. That's just how I like them. And she's
Yeah.
also really talented when it comes to like makeup and hair and makeup
Yeah,
design. You know,
she
again,
is.
she worked in our department as far as like the applications and like the wigs and the makeup and all that stuff. And she's just on another level that I could ever, you know, go to. It's
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
I love it. You
And
guys complement each other.
and
Power couple.
our story is very unique in that we started off in college, but we didn't start dating in college. We didn't start dating until
Mm.
well after the fact, after we both graduated.
That's kind of better though, because then you've outgrown some of the immaturity, in a
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. And again, like I would sit next to her and I would cheat off of her paper. I would look at her, you know, like what was she? Because she had all the
Uh-uh.
answers. She had
I
all
love
the
it.
answers. She did her
Not
homework.
only
She
good
was
looking and
diligent.
smart.
I was not as studious as my wife was. I could tell you that.
That's cute.
Yeah.
And the kids are so cute. I love them too. What would you say if they want to follow the footsteps of performance and stage and theater and acting?
I feel like I'm already getting there. And I say that
Yeah.
because my daughter, she's been very interested in dance.
Yeah, that's cool.
She had her ceremony last year where she graduated from like pre-K to kindergarten. And it was a
Yeah.
beautiful little ceremony where all the kids would go up and they would say their names and they would say what they want to be when they grow up. And
Yeah.
one kid said, you know, my name is so and so. I want to be a ninja, or I want to be a
Cool.
firefighter, or I want to
Yeah.
be an astronaut. My
Yeah.
daughter said she wants to be a ballerina.
Oh, I
And
love that.
you know, as a parent, you want to support their endeavors. You want to, you
Yeah.
know, you just I want to give her the world. I want to give her everything that I possibly can. But you also have to be realistic too, and it's a very
Mm-hmm.
delicate balance because you know what the real world is like out there. Once you step outside, it is
Yeah.
cold, it is ugly, it is brutal, it is mean, you
Yeah.
know, and
It
it's
can be,
like
especially in the dance world. It's that is
especially in the dance world.
militant.
And
Yeah.
so you want to shield your child from all the ugliness that goes on. You know, it's tough because you want to nurture and you want to like harvest and fan that flame that they have for the things that they love. And so how do you do that? How do you balance that part
And protect them.
but also protect them from you know the ugliness of the world, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
There's
tough.
only like so much you can do. It's I mean everything is temporary anyways, and we had to experience our own journeys to discover ourselves, and so the kids are going to have to do the same for their
Yeah.
journeys, and you will be supportive, and I know you're going to be the best. You are the best dad already, so I know that you're going to be the best as she grows up and expresses her individuality and what she wants to do. Cool. I love this. So what are some of the highlights? Like what are you really proud of as far as like your career? Because you've done so much. So you've done
Yeah.
conventions after convention, you've traveled, you're signing autographs, you're on video games, you're in cartoons, you're in Disney. Like your resume is just like never ending.
There
What
have
are
been
like
some
the top highlights that you want to share with us?
working on the Legend of Zelda just
Yeah.
from a career, from a professional standpoint.
I mean, talk
That's
about
something
legend, icon.
that's something that I grew up playing when I was a child, when I was my daughter's age.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there were moments when we were working on that game where we'd be done and I'd go back to my car and you just have to like have a moment where it's like, what am I doing? You know, and there are times where you feel like you're out of your depth, like you're out of your league, but also like this is something I grew up with. I'm in Transformers. I'm a Transformer. Like
That's so dope.
that to me, that's something that the 5-year-old version of myself that grew up watching these cartoons and playing with these toys and all that stuff, I have a hard time wrapping my mind around it. And there are times where you get so caught up in the work, in the actual
Yeah.
process of work,
Sure.
where sometimes you have to allow yourself to like kind of detach for a minute and really just soak in the significance of it.
Yeah.
And
That's
it is
beautiful.
tremendous. And going back to my parents real quick,
Yeah, please do.
one of the things that my father would always, always, always preach to me all these years later that I can still vividly remember, he said, "You can do anything. You can do anything. If you try, if you apply yourself, you can do anything." And so he would routinely say that. And I guess on a subconscious level, you don't think of any barriers that might come your way. It doesn't hit you because
Yeah.
all you think as a kid growing up, you think, if I just apply myself, if I study hard, if I put in enough work, I can do it. And to me, that was
Yeah.
just something that was always true. And I know that's not always the case with other people and their parents and how
Hmm.
they want to pursue their artistic endeavors. And even though, it may not be the career path that my parents might have wanted me to do, they encouraged me. And there is something to be
Yeah.
said for that. And
I
that's
love
that's
that.
something that I hope I can impart to my daughter. Like I said, you want them to believe that they can, because they can. They can do anything if you apply yourself. And so with my daughter, I kind of like what I was talking about earlier,
Hmm.
where you're so young and so naive, where it doesn't even hit you. Like you're not afraid.
Yeah.
And there's a
Yeah.
beauty in that.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful thing
100%.
where
Yeah.
you don't even think about, any of the negativity or any of the other things that could be obstacles in your way. You're
Sure.
just so committed to it. And that's a beautiful thing, and I hope that my kids run with that.
Yeah.
Because and I'll admit, like, I think the years have made me a little bit more pessimistic. And I feel like,
It's honest.
and being the head of a household, and
It's a
everything,
lot.
it wears on you. And so I tend to think about what could go wrong. And
Hmm.
I admit that I don't, and I need to allow myself to think about what could go right.
There you go.
And I need, but I recognize that, Andrew. I need to give myself that license,
Yeah.
and not just for my kids, but also for myself. Think about what
100%.
could go right.
Yeah. Back to dad's wise words. You can do anything you want to do in this world.
Yeah.
You can be anything that you want to be if you put your mind to it. Why not just take that risk and try
Why
it?
not?
We had that
Why
beautiful
not?
conversation going to your last convention here in Florida, in Tampa. And yeah, it was like, why not just try it? Like, you have a passion, you've had this
Yeah.
dream, this goal that you've been wanting to pursue. Every episode, I've provided some tool resource to help the listener or the viewer to try to achieve that. And I hope this resonates with them. And this conversation alone, like the fact that you're having this full circle moment with your inner child and then now your kids, which is beautiful, of like
Yeah.
reminding you, the youth energy is important. Having that no sense of fear, that just kind of fearless youthful energy of just the inner child that is wanting to be their true fantasy, like, which we can still do as adults. Like, that's the point. Like, there's no expiration date for that inner
And it,
child,
it's it's such a delicate balance, Andrew. And I live it myself on a regular basis, where again we get so bogged down by, oh, the bills, or this is
Mm-hmm.
due, or I got this, I got that, and you get worried, you get bogged down by all the, like I said, the business, where it's like, you need to just push that stuff to the side. How are you going to create?
Yeah.
Where do you find that the creative inspiration, the inspiration deep down
Mm-hmm.
inside? If you if
Yeah.
you lead with that, then hopefully the other things will fall into place. But I know that's really, really tough, is to sort of like block those other, the business and all the other stuff that comes with
It's
it.
always going to be there anyways. Like, it's not going
but but
away.
but how do you push it to the side and just,
Mm.
I just want to find that inspiration. I just
Yeah.
want to be that creative person.
Yeah.
I
That
just
really
want
leads
to.
me into the next question. What
Yeah.
did you have any practices or routines that you have placed to nurture your creativity, spirituality while running your business?
Um, taking time off.
There you
vacation,
go.
tuning
That
out. I
the
mean, and
balance of it.
fortunately, this is gonna sound really odd, playing video games,
There
watching
you go.
TV,
Hey,
because all of that feeds into what my work right now.
it's
So
research too. Absolutely.
much to the chagrin of my wife, who thinks, "Oh my God, he's just being a pinche huevon, sitting on the couch playing Xbox." It's like, no, like yes, there's part of that, but there's also like,
I didn't know
hey,
Tiffany spoke Spanish now too, by
she
the
doesn't.
way.
But it's like, no, this helps, and
Yeah.
it's
Well,
important.
that's your self-care time. Absolutely.
It's self-care, Andrew, but it's also an ability to tap into what's going on around us. And that's the important thing, is like, look and observe. What are people into? What are they saying? What are they how are they dressing? How are they acting? What is new in this world?
Yeah.
If you don't want to be left behind, you have to be looking forward.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so the only way to do that is to be tuned in, whether it's
Mm.
television or movies or music or internet, whatever. But you gotta tap into all that, because if
You got to
not,
feed it. You got to
you're
feed
gonna
that
get left
energy.
behind,
Hmm.
Andrew.
Yeah. I'm not gonna be left behind because I'm feeding it constantly, but I hear you. For listeners, listen to this advice right here. And so this brings me into my favorite segment of season 2.
The library is open! Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
There you have it, darling.
And that leads me into the next segment of our season 2 episode. The library is open, and this is an opportunity for our guests to share what is their favorite book and what are your top 3 reasons that maybe you've read in the past or you're currently reading at the moment. So go for it. What's your favorite book, Joe, and why?
Right now, I just recently finished Reality is Broken. And it's a really, really interesting book
Nice.
that a friend of mine recommended. Because my buddy, who also plays video games, I obviously play video games, not nearly as much as I would like. But it's kind of a very introspective look as to like how gamers are sort of hardwired, and in some ways it kind of examines how in some ways video games are better than
Hmm.
real life, and why video gamers are like really into their games versus doing things in real life. And but it also speaks to sort of like the systemic brokenness of our reality, of the world in which we live in. And again,
Yeah.
the book kind of goes into greater detail about this, where if you play video games, you have your character, you have your avatar, and what
Okay.
do? You work towards an end. You
Right.
work towards either beating your
Achieving a goal.
level, or achieving your mission, your goal, or whatever, right? And what typically happens after you finish the level, or you finish your mission or something like that? You usually get rewarded. You
Hmm.
usually get like either a reward, whether it's like money for the game, or if it's like a new gear, or something that
Level up.
helps that helps you level up, right?
Literally. Yeah.
Think about it for a second.
Yeah.
You don't really have those types of things said in real life, you know?
Hmm.
We don't have like like there's not as much incentivized in real life. And I say this because look at so many people of our generation, where they were taught, go to high school, go to college, graduate from college, you get a good job, you know? And look at what happened to so many people that, did the 4 years and unfortunately got
Right.
themselves into a lot of student loan debt.
Right.
And it's like, well, we were supposed to get, a good job. There's supposed to be a good job waiting for us at the end of the tunnel. There isn't. The job market is crap, and the housing market is even worse. It's like, well, what's the incentive? Meanwhile,
Hmm.
video games, they offer like this kind of clear cut in incentive. One of the other things that the book also talks about is, and I noticed it right away when I read it,
Yeah.
where it makes you very task oriented.
Okay. I like
And
that.
I notice this in myself versus my wife, who doesn't play video games.
Okay.
So my wife does not play video games. She doesn't really touch them. She doesn't again, like that's her deal. I play video games. And so I noticed just in our everyday life, I wouldn't say that I'm very organized, but I'm very, like I said, task oriented. Okay, there's dishes, there's laundry, there's groceries, there's this and that. And whereas my wife is kind of just like, oh yeah, whatever, we'll take care of it, whatever, like kind of I don't like to plan. My wife is like, I don't want to plan. I just, we'll worry about that when it comes along. It's like, no, like we have this, like
Yeah.
these are our missions.
Right.
Like but and I know that sounds really like kind of crazy, like when you try to apply a video game analogy to something in real life, but it's true. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah. And I recognize within myself, Andrew, that the video games have kind of hardwired me that way, where it's like, no,
Wow.
okay, yeah, no, you have your missions, you have your
Hmm.
things that you need to complete, and those are just that's just a part of life.
Reality is Broken by
Reality is
Jane
broken. McDonough,
McGonigal.
McGonigal, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll have to check that out. It's super cool. And definitely some takeaways as far as when having your tasks. And I mean, I'm a very task oriented person as well, and I love a checklist. Actually encouraging everybody to participate in this Reflect 30-day reset challenge that we're going to start January 1st. Well, at this point we've already started, so hopefully we're still going with it. And it's a checklist you check off. And then as far as the accomplishing it and achieving your task and finishing it, yeah, in the video game world, you get your coins or you level up and you get to do something better for like the next episode. But you know what? I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I not that it's not right. I'm saying within life, I feel you can still find rewards within your tasks and within manifestation, within visualizing and practicing kind acts with others. I feel, and you can hear my dog now shaking his head. He's probably wanting to go out. Karmatically, the universe is going to bless you, is my point. If you're a good person that's kind, practicing kind acts with others, and spreading love and light as a mission statement, it's going to reflect and come back to you naturally, just because that's in your essence and it's within your being as a person. Um, let me let him out 1 second.
no problem, no problem.
So yes, thank you so much, Joe, for sharing that insightful book. It sounds really cool. I can't wait to check it out. It actually reminded me a little bit of one of my favorite books as well by Ray Bradbury called Martian Chronicles. Um, Definitely had that like futuristic video game kind of apocalyptic kind of world,
Uh-huh.
and it was each chapter was about a surviving, finishing the task, getting to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that at such a young age. It made a huge impact in my life, and I'm just a fan of Ray Bradbury's books in general. So yeah, I appreciate you participating in The Library is Open
Sure.
and just continuing that journey with us. So cool. All right. This is going to be another set of questions,
Okay.
and these are called Wrapping Up Mindful Artist Rapid Cues. Wherever you're at intuitively, just answer these next 3 questions and see what comes to your head. Question number 1, Joe Hernandez. Who is your hero and why?
Oh God. I mean, there's just so many different ways to answer that question. Like, who is my hero?
Typically, when it's um, someone of your nature as an artist, which a lot of us are, I've given them the chance to say maybe like a creative hero and then a personal hero. So if you want to do that, you can.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, it's just such an open-ended question. Someone that was a big giant inspiration to me was probably Jim Cummings. He voices a lot of some of my favorite characters,
Yeah.
when I was growing up, and so to me, that was always someone that I sort of modeled my aspirations towards was him and his work. I mean, you look at everything that he's done, Darkwing Duck, DuckTales. I mean, he's in
Yeah.
when he's Winnie the Pooh. He's
Yeah.
like, my God, like his resume is just outstanding. And I had the pleasure of meeting him many, many years ago. I did a convention
No
appearance,
way.
and
That's so
he was
cool.
also, we were at the same convention. And this never happens, Andrew, except with him. But I
Wow.
got a little starstruck.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
just kind of like you can't even say the words
He's your
because
Madonna to like me.
what would I say? Like would I
Yeah.
say something stupid? Would I make an ass out of myself? Like just like you can't even I can't even. I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah. Did
That
you
is
say anything?
I tried to play it off very
Did you just
cool, like
drool?
just like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, what's up? And like he was like, because you don't want to gush, you don't want to be seen as like a fanboy
Yeah.
or anything like that. It's just like, oh gosh,
Cute.
like
I love that.
yeah, but
That's so cool. All right.
absolutely one of
Good
my
job.
all-time inspirations.
Great work. Okay. Question number 2. What is your favorite music album of all time and why?
Oh God! Wow!
Because for me,
Wow!
music is spiritual. Not only is it art, but it's spiritual. So that's why I like to ask that to my guests. And picture yourself on a deserted island. You only have one Discman and one CD to listen to the rest of your life. What is that album going to be?
God! God! Jesus Christ! That is such an open-ended question.
Maybe Baby Joe, Young
I
Joe. What would he be jamming out to?
God! I shoot. I would probably say Tool. Um,
Nice. Okay.
what is it? Lateralis.
Mm-hmm.
And I say it from a sense of like something, an album that you can listen to that is each song is sort of
Yeah.
uniquely different from the other, and like it does make you feel
Yeah. From
like,
beginning
oh
to
my
end.
God.
You just let it play.
It's just like, whoa. It's just it moves you.
That's what I'm talking about.
And
Good
it's
choice.
it's tough because like God, there's so many different albums that you could pick from and choose from, and like some that are more poppy and some that have like very
Mm,
catchy tunes, but like you could just sit and close your eyes and
yeah.
just it takes you to another place.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm talking
And
about.
to me, that's what that album did when I was in
Yeah.
high school.
Oh, I love that. Good. Good answer. All right. Joe Hernandez, final question for wrapping up Mindful Artist
Okay.
Rapid Cues. Question number 3. What is your favorite quote of all time? Could be a funny one. Could be someone that gave to you advice or you read somewhere.
If you fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
Ooh, that was deep. I felt that.
I
That's
I
good.
don't I don't think he originated it, but he definitely made it famous, and that was Coach John R. Wooden, who
Okay.
coached all the UCLA men's basketball teams, and they won. I can't even tell you how many championships during his time there when he was the
Rad.
head coach. But that is something that still rings true
It hits you.
to today. And
Yeah.
again, I find myself going back to it like time and time and time again. And sometimes, again, not to pick on my wife too much, again, kind of going back into the sort
We
of
love
like
Tiffany.
the video game brain, the task oriented brain
Uh-huh.
versus the
Which is
non.
surprising because women are usually very task oriented, but yeah, no, each to each
Yeah,
their own.
but and again, I cannot tell you how many times I ask my wife, "Hey, what do you want to do about this? This is coming up. What do you?" And so like just trying to plan.
I guess now that I think about it, you're the booker with me,
Oh,
so that makes
absolutely,
sense. Yeah,
absolutely.
makes sense. Yeah,
And you know why that is, Andrew? Is because I don't have the luxury with my time, with my schedule, with my life.
yeah,
I don't have the ability to just sort of wing it.
yeah.
Like I don't have that luxury of being able to kind of just fly by to the seat of my pants because
No, every
I
minute
have
counts, and it's
as
sometimes it fits in by seconds. Like you
yes,
just make it. I relate to
yes.
that. I
Yes.
think we're similar a lot, and
Yes.
when it comes to scheduling like that.
And as someone that is freelance,
Mm-hmm.
where again, you absolutely need to be organized. You
Yeah.
have to know, you have to account.
Punctuality is everything too for your
Punctuality is
job.
everything, and you have to account for every second of every day, because if not, like, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot to do this. This was due then.
Mhm.
Like, oh my God, and so you fall behind.
Yeah.
And so I don't have the luxury of being able to just wing it or just go with it. Like, no,
Yeah.
I have a schedule to maintain. I gotta keep it going. I gotta keep organized.
Yeah.
So I try to look at my schedule, days, weeks,
Same.
months, however long ahead of time. And it's like, okay, what do we got going here? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And you just try to like dial in and try to think of how you work, like I said, thread the needle
Literally, I'm
with
planned out
with
till March already.
yes,
I totally
yes,
get. And sorry, May actually, May. Yeah, so I totally get it, and it's
6
sometimes,
months from now.
yeah,
It's
sometimes it's
crazy.
overbooked. Sometimes I have
Yeah.
to reschedule, but yeah, it's threading the needle. I 100% relate to that. It's
If you fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
yeah, words of wisdom. I love it. Joe Hernandez, you're amazing. You're a
Thank you.
delight.
You're amazing.
Thank you so much. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you, support your craft, and do you
Um,
have any cool projects that you want to plug in?
yeah, I can plug in something. I just got the go ahead to talk about it, but if you play Fallout 73, which is really popular video game. I'm in the new Liberty City DLC.
What?
It just came out two
Okay.
weeks ago. But what was really funny about it is like I didn't know.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I worked on it back in September. And the
Yeah.
funny thing is when you work on projects like this, like you could work on something and it might be out in 2 years. It might be
Right.
out in 2 months. So
Right.
like you don't know. And sometimes they don't
You
tell
forget about
you.
it.
You
Yeah.
you forget about it or whatever. And so like I just got word today, like, hey, that thing that you worked on, it's out now. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I can talk about it. But like again, who knows? So yeah, Fallout 73.
So cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, at Joe Hernandez VO. So I'm pretty
Beautiful.
active on Twitter, so feel free to reach out there.
Fun, fun, fun. I love it. Thank you so much. You're
Thank
an
you.
amazing guest. I'm so grateful to have you. And you guys, I'll put all the information and the links in the description. My kings and queens and all between, thank you so much for joining us today at another episode of Mindful Artist Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things balancing creativity, spirituality, while being an entrepreneur. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, make sure that you like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram at Mindful Artist Podcast. Give us the ratings and reviews. Share this with somebody that you love. That way, we're most likely to come out on their algorithms. And that song you're about to hear is called Mi Corazon, written by myself, produced by Aaron McClendon. You could download Mi Corazon wherever you stream your favorite music. And if you are a creative person that would like to be a guest on Mindful Artist Podcast, email me at mindfulartistpodcast@gmail.com. Joe, you're the best. Give my love to the family. Thank you so much. And for everybody else, make an impact in someone's life. Much love and light to you all. I'll see you at the next episode. Take care. Bye.